Welcome back to another bedtime adventure. Tuck into bed, close your eyes, and get ready to have an amazing sleep. And to the cheeky parents, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can keep up to date with all our new bedtime stories.
The Little Fire Truck Who Was Afraid of Loud Noises. In a quiet little town where the streetlights glowed like sleepy stars and the houses tucked themselves under the moon each night, there stood the friendliest fire station you could ever imagine. It had shiny red doors, a polished brass bell, a row of neatly hanging helmets, and parked inside, beneath the warm golden lights, were the fire trucks. Big fire trucks, strong fire trucks, confident fire trucks. And at the very end of the row, parked beside the equipment shelves and a pot plant that was trying very hard to stay alive, was the smallest fire truck of them all. His name was Rusty. Now Rusty was bright red, with the cutest little headlights, a glossy silver ladder, and wheels so clean they almost sparkled. He loved being part of the fire station. He loved the smell of polished floors. He loved the quiet ticking clock above the office door. He loved when the firefighters cleaned his windows and said, "Looking sharp, little mate." But Rusty had a secret, a very big secret, a very loud secret. Rusty was afraid of loud noises, very afraid. He was afraid of the fire station bell. He was afraid of thunder. He was afraid of barking dogs if they barked too suddenly. He was afraid of metal bins clanging in alleyways. He was even afraid of the sneezing sound old Mr. Crumble made when he trimmed his roses on Tuesdays. Ha! Shoo! Every time a loud noise burst through the air, Rusty jumped so hard his mirrors wobbled. Now, being a fire truck who is afraid of loud noises is a bit like being a fish who is nervous about water, because fire trucks are surrounded by noise. Sirens, engines, hoses, radios, alarm bells, boots stomping, voices calling, doors banging. And Rusty worried about it all the time. What if the bell rang and he panicked? What if the siren blared and he froze? What if there was a real emergency and he couldn't do what a fire truck is supposed to do? One evening, as the moon rose over the town and the station grew cozy and quiet, Rusty looked across at the other trucks. There was Big Ben, the largest truck in the station, with a deep engine rumble and a shiny chrome grille that looked like he was always smiling. There was Daisy Ladder, tall and graceful, with the biggest ladder in town and the calmest voice Rusty had ever heard. And there was Splash, the rescue truck, who was fast and cheerful and always seemed ready for anything. Rusty sighed softly. "I wish I was brave like them," he whispered. Big Ben's headlights blinked open. "You know I can hear you, don't you?" he said gently. Rusty gave a tiny, embarrassed squeak of an engine. "Sorry." Big Ben rolled forward a little. "What's bothering you tonight, little mate?" Rusty looked down at the polished station floor. "I'm scared." Big Ben nodded slowly. "Of what?" Rusty's voice became very small. "Loud noises." For a moment, nobody laughed. Nobody teased. Nobody said, "That's silly." Instead, Daisy Ladder turned her soft lights toward him and said, "That's not nothing, Rusty. Loud sounds can be startling." Splash rolled closer too. "Yep, that old bell nearly made me reverse into a broom cupboard when I was new." Rusty blinked. "Really?" Splash puffed up proudly. "Absolutely. Whole shelf of polishing cloths came down on me. I smelled like lemon wipes for a week." Big Ben chuckled. Rusty looked from one truck to the other. "You were scared too?" Big Ben nodded. "When I was young, I was scared of making mistakes." Daisy Ladder smiled. "I was scared of heights." Rusty stared. "But you're a ladder truck." "Yes," Daisy said, which made things rather inconvenient. Rusty let out a little laugh. Then he sighed again. "What if I'm never brave enough?" Big Ben's voice became low and warm. "Rusty, being brave doesn't mean you never feel scared." Daisy nodded. "It means you keep going, even when your wheels are trembling," Splash added, "preferably in the right direction." That made Rusty smile, but only a little, because deep down he still wasn't sure. That night, the station settled into sleepy silence. The firefighters chatted softly in the office, then headed home one by one. The clock ticked. The moonlight stretched through the windows. Outside, the town grew still. Rusty tried to rest, but his thoughts kept whirring. What if the bell rang tonight? What if it was loud? What if I jump? What if I freeze? What if I let everyone down? He was so busy worrying that when a cat knocked over a metal rubbish bin outside the station, clang, bang, rattle, Rusty jumped so hard he nearly honked. "Oh dear," he squeaked. Big Ben opened one eye. "Just a bin," Rusty breathed out slowly. "Right, yes, just a bin." Then, a few minutes later, thunder rumbled far away beyond the hills. Bubble. Rusty tucked himself in tighter between the painted parking lines. Daisy Ladder spoke gently into the dark. "Still with us, Rusty?" "Yes," Rusty whispered. "Good," said Daisy. "That's bravery already." Rusty thought about that. He didn't feel brave. He felt jittery and jumpy and silly, but he stayed. Maybe that counted for something. The next morning, the sun rose golden over the town, and with it came all the cheerful daytime sounds. Birds chirping, bakery trays clinking, shop doors opening, children laughing on their way to school, a cyclist dropping something metallic and yelling, "Oops!" Rusty jumped at that too. By lunchtime, he had jumped at a barking dog, a car horn, a dropped toolbox, and one watermelon rolling off a fruit stand with such dramatic energy that the whole station had turned to watch it. Thump, 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 splat. Splash sighed. That watermelon really committed to the moment. Rusty gave a weak smile. That afternoon, Captain Meyer, the kind firefighter who often polished Rusty's windows, came to check on the trucks. She always seemed to know when someone in the station needed a bit of extra kindness. She ran a hand gently along Rusty's bonnet. "You look worried, little guy," she said softly. Rusty wished very much that trucks could talk out loud to humans. If he could have spoken, he would have said, "I'm trying. I want to help. I just get scared." Instead, he gave the tiniest, saddest little engine hum. Captain Meyer smiled kindly, as if she understood anyway. She said, "You don't have to be the loudest truck to be a good one." Rusty's headlights widened. Captain Meyer continued cleaning his mirrors. Sometimes the gentlest ones notice the things everyone else misses. Rusty didn't fully understand it then, but those words tucked themselves quietly into his little truck heart. That evening, after supper in the station kitchen and a round of very serious biscuit negotiations among the firefighters, the sun dipped low and night returned to the town. It was cool and still, a perfect bedtime sort of night. The stars twinkled softly over the rooftops. A little breeze rustled the trees. And in the nursery at the far end of town, a small child had just been tucked into bed by her mum, who kissed her forehead, pulled the blanket up just right, and whispered, "Sleep tight." Sweetheart, that matters, you know. Because while children drift toward dreams, there are always grown-ups nearby doing 1,000 quiet, loving things. Turning off lights, checking windows, straightening blankets, listening for coughs, filling water cups, sitting in the dark a little longer if needed. Love doesn't always arrive with noise. Very often, it comes softly. And that softness is one of the things that makes the world feel safe. Back at the fire station, Rusty was just beginning to feel drowsy. His engine had gone all warm and sleepy. His thoughts had slowed. His wheels felt still. Maybe tonight, he thought, would be calm. Maybe tonight there would be no bangs, no crashes, no bell. Ding, 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 ding. The station bell exploded through the night. Rusty jolted. Every mirror on his little body shook. His heart thumped. The firefighters rushed in. Boots thudded. Voices called. Doors flew open. Lights flashed on. "Kitchen fire on Willow Lane!" shouted Captain Meyer. Big Ben started his engine. Splash rolled forward. Daisy Ladder lifted slightly on her suspension. Rusty froze. The sirens would come next, the loudest sound of all. His wheels trembled. Big Ben noticed immediately. He leaned toward Rusty and said in a calm, deep voice, "Look at me, little mate." Rusty did. "Breathe," said Big Ben. Rusty tried. "In and out," Daisy said gently. Splash smiled. "You don't have to be fearless. Just come with us." Rusty swallowed. The sirens began to wind up. Wee! Ooh! Wee! Rusty flinched. His engine stuttered. For one terrible second he thought, "I can't." Then he remembered Captain Meyer. You don't have to be the loudest truck to be a good one. And Big Ben. Being brave doesn't mean you never feel scared. And Daisy. Keep going, even when your wheels are trembling. And Splash, preferably in the right direction. Rusty took the deepest little engine breath a fire truck ever took. Then he rolled forward. One wheel. Then another. Then another. Out into the night. Willow Lane was glowing orange when they arrived. A small fire had started in the kitchen of a little house near the corner shop. Smoke curled from the window. Neighbours stood outside in dressing gowns and slippers. A dog barked. Someone dropped a metal pan in the confusion. A baby cried from a nearby porch. Everything was loud. Very loud. Rusty's whole body wanted to reverse straight back to the station. But then he saw something no one else saw. At the upstairs nursery window, through the smoke-hazed glass, there was a tiny flickering nightlight shaped like a moon. And beside it, a little shadow moving. Rusty blinked hard. A child. Still inside. His headlights widened. Big Ben and Splash were already helping with hoses. Daisy Ladder was positioning to reach the upper window. Captain Meyer shouted instructions. Everyone was moving fast. Rusty's fear surged. The sirens. The shouting. The crackling fire. The barking dog. The banging pan. It all swirled around him like a storm. But the little shadow moved again behind the nursery curtain. And suddenly Rusty understood what Captain Meyer had meant. He wasn't the loudest truck. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the bravest feeling. But he had noticed, and that mattered. Rusty found his voice, or at least the truck version of it. He flashed his lights and honked sharply. Honk, honk, honk. Captain Meyer turned. Rusty flashed toward the upstairs nursery window, then toward Daisy Ladder, then back again. Captain Meyer's eyes widened. "The nursery!" she shouted. Daisy Ladder moved at once. Her ladder rose smoothly into the smoky night. Big Ben shifted the hose line. Splash helped clear the way. And Rusty, though every bolt in his body was trembling, stayed right where he was and kept his lights fixed on that window. Steady, bright, focused. Captain Meyer climbed the ladder with calm, quick movements. The firefighters reached the nursery. A moment later, through the smoke, they emerged with a sleepy little child wrapped in a blanket. The child coughed once, then clung tightly to Captain Meyer's shoulder. "Below!" the mother cried with relief. The neighbours clapped. The dog barked again, but this time nobody minded. Rusty's engine hummed with disbelief. He had helped. He had really helped. Even while scared. Even with the sirens. Even with the noise. The fire was quickly brought under control. The kitchen was saved. The little child was safe. And before long, Willow Lane was quiet again, except for the gentle murmur of relieved voices and the hiss of cooling water. Captain Meyer came over to Rusty and laid a hand on his bonnet. "You spotted the nursery," she said softly. Rusty's little engine gave a shy hum. That was very brave. Big Ben rolled alongside him. "Told you." Daisy Ladder smiled. "You kept going." Splash grinned. "And in the right direction." Rusty let out the tiniest laugh. He was still shaky, still rattled, still not a fan of loud noises, if he was being honest. But the feeling inside him now was different. Bigger, warmer. He didn't feel fearless. He felt proud. And that, for Rusty, was even better. Back at the station later that night, the trucks settled into their places again. The lights dimmed. The station grew quiet. The clock ticked softly above the office. Rusty parked in his usual spot beside the pot plant. Only now, everything felt a little different. He looked at Big Ben, at Daisy, at Splash, at Captain Meyer through the office window, writing up the report with a mug of tea beside her. Then Rusty whispered, "I was scared the whole time." Big Ben nodded. "Of course." Rusty frowned. "But I still did it." Daisy's lights glowed softly. "Exactly." Rusty was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. A real smile this time. Not a nervous one. Not a wobbly one. A proud one. "Maybe," he said slowly, "being brave is helping even when your engine is doing cartwheels." Splash snorted. "Now you're getting it." And from that night on, Rusty still jumped sometimes. He still startled at clanging bins. He still disliked thunder. He still wished sirens were at least 30% less siren-y. But he no longer believed that fear meant he couldn't be brave. Because he knew the truth now. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is kindness with shaking wheels. It is courage with a wobble. It is showing up when it matters. And as the moon shone over the sleepy little town, and one small rescued child dreamed safely in her bed, Rusty the little fire truck closed his headlights and drifted peacefully to sleep. He was not the loudest truck. He was not the biggest truck, but he was brave, and that was enough. The end.